If you love hurricanes, daiquiris, and, well, any rum cocktail, listen up. Captain Morgan's about to shake things up like never before. We're talking Bourbon Street, New Orleans, home to legendary drinks and unforgettable moments. But what if we told you the most iconic cocktails here have one thing in common? Hint, it's not bourbon. That's right, it's rum. And Captain Morgan is bringing unforgettable fun to Bourbon Street in a way you won't want to miss. Get ready for something big as we gear up for Super Bowl 59. Make sure to keep your eyes on NOLA's most iconic street. Who knows, Bourbon Street might just need a new name. Stay tuned for clues and get ready for the most legendary adventure yet. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Snap Material Podcast. We are back to discuss some more Marvel Snap. If you've got a mobile device and you like card games, you like the Marvel Universe, you might want to check out Marvel Snap. I don't know what you're doing here at this podcast, but we appreciate it anyway if you're not. That's Evan Bevins over there. I'm Jesse Starcher. Welcome to the podcast, guys. We're going to be talking about our previous season that just got done, which was Dark Avengers. We're going to be looking forward into the future here for our most recent season, our upcoming season, the season that's dropped already, and that is called, oh my goodness, hold on. Help me out. What is it, Evan?
Brave New World.
Brave New World. Like there's a movie or something that they're trying to...
Yeah. Yes.
We did. We have a top 5. Did you get your top 5 together?
Yeah.
All right, good deal. And what do we do?
Once I convinced you to remove all math from it, it got easier.
Are we going with the ones that had most impact? Is that what we decided to call it?
I think it was the most bang for your buck.
All right, most bang for your buck. Well,
we were going to do efficiency, but I quickly realized that efficiency could be measured.
Fair.
I didn't want to do that much math.
I understand. We'll be talking about the meta this go around here too. And I know we have a Never Avengers battle planned. I think I've covered everything. So let's go ahead and get into our discussion about the previous season, which was Dark Avengers. And let me get to my notes here. Starting off with the premier card. Comes with the season pass, and I got the season pass. Iron Patriot, 2 costs, 3 power. On reveal, add a random 4, 5, or 6 cost card to your hand. If you're winning here next turn, give it a -4 cost. And yeah, I got the season pass, but I used them probably about 3 or 4 days after I got them. And I didn't really find a great deck to put him in yet, although I did see him quite a bit. What was your experience there?
Yeah, I saw him all the time. Still see him frequently. I still think he has one of the best animations.
Yes.
I always got too distracted. I didn't always notice which card, but stopping them from winning that lane by the next turn got pretty challenging.
Right.
Because, people would be using Juggernaut, or it was pretty hard to do. Most of the time, I just didn't even try. I was like, yeah, they're going to have an answer for that. Let's look elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
yeah, I didn't end up getting him, but I saw him a lot, usually with Victoria Hand, often with the Collector.
Mm-hmm.
Victoria Hand was Osborn's right-hand woman in the whole Dark Avengers thing, but the Collector, not so much.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, usually where you got the Collector, Moon Girl, and Devil Dinosaur aren't far behind.
Right.
So saw that a lot. It wasn't overwhelming, but I could see where it was useful. I think I only pulled Iron Patriot one time, and I did drop a 0-cost rock slide.
Oh, you can't complain about that. Can't complain. All right, next up, Victoria Hand, 2 cost, 3 power. Ongoing, your cards that were created in your hand have +2 power. I didn't see her a whole lot either. I think it might be the fact that, I swear Marvel Snap does not it's not a random algorithm. I swear they pair you up against people. So if I'm using a different deck, there's a very good possibility I'm not going to see Victoria Hand because the deck I'm using isn't going to pair well against that deck or something. I understand her use. I didn't see her enough to where I was like, okay, this girl's definitely a threat. Sounds like you had an opposite experience.
Yeah, I saw her a lot. I was not able to get her. I was saving for a couple of the other cards we'll talk about. So I took one shot at her. I got that creepy Nocturne variant.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody probably loves it.
Not me.
Yeah, not a backbreaker on its own, but they can add up. I had people double up with Sinister London or Frigga and things like that. And sometimes 1 or 2 points can make a difference. So yeah, she's one I would like to get, but I don't know, there's a few others I have my eye on right now as far as tokens go. But in a Collectisar deck, with or without Iron Patriot, I can definitely see her being useful.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up was Moonstone, 4 cost, 6 power, ongoing. Has the ongoing effects of your 1, 2, and 3 cost cards here.
We missed that.
Boyd, I don't know if it's a matter of me just not reading, because I'm certain that I read that on the podcast, but comprehending is a different story. I don't know why I just looked at it and went with it. I was like, oh yeah, they would get all these all my ongoings and just have all this power on this one person. And then I realized I'm only going to have really 3 cards that I can do that with. I'm going to come back to this here when we discuss the meta, because it feeds into my darkest day. Anyway, I still think she's rather useful. I left my notes down here, Cerebro, Mystique, and I think that I was rolling with a deck like that at first, and I was like, why isn't it winning? Why am I not destroying people? And then I started to realize, I've got all these other cards and I need to put them in one spot with Moonstone. Once I started to figure that out, I was like, okay, she's still useful. She's still kind of versatile if you're trying to use her with other ongoings. Like I said, there's 32 ongoing cards that are 1, 2, and 3. There's a lot of possibility with Moonstone. Needless to say, I got her, and I still think she has a lot of upside. How about you?
Yeah, she was one of the ones I wanted. And then one of the reasons I didn't try again for Victoria Hand, I was playing somebody and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Why isn't she copying more effects? At that point, I was just like, I don't think so. So I started saving my keys. Not that she's bad, but she just went from, that could be really good to, I see how that could be used.
Yeah.
I decided to save up for the next card.
All right, and that was a wise choice in my opinion. Bullseye, 3 cost, 3 power, activate, discard all cards that cost 1 or less from your hand. Afflict that many different enemy cards with -2 power. So, I'm looking at my previous notes. I talked about Luke Cage playing spoiler, and I honestly didn't see Luke Cage out there with my opponents very much at all.
Yeah, once or twice I saw him, but...
You used Ajax on me. I even had it written down here in my notes from last time, but I've never used Ajax with Bullseye yet, and I have no idea why I haven't.
That was one of the first things I did, was put him in my Ajax deck. Usually I got way more complicated with Bullseye.
Yeah, my combo with Bullseye was Gambit and Fenris Wolf. So you got Fenris Wolf out there to bring back any destroyed card. Actually, I'm sorry, bring back the highest. It's the highest powered destroy card, isn't it? Right. So you have that. You've got Bullseye out there, and you have Gambit in your hand. You had to really know the order of things. You had to set up. Hopefully you have Swarm in your hand too at that point. That's Bullseye. Boom, Bullseye will get rid of however many swarms you have. The order should be this. Let's go. Fenris Wolf is already out there. Bullseye's out there. It's turn 6. You lay down Gambit first and hope that swarm's in your hand. So Gambit goes out, multiplies the swarm. When that happens, it destroys a card. And then your next activate ability is going to be to use Bullseye to take those. I guess you would have 2, possibly 4, like at the minimum 2. Take those 2 swarm cards, I think it'd be 2, and send them out and hit 2 of your opponent's cards with, or maybe 1 with -2, who knows. Anyway, you're hitting the other side of the board with -2 power, and then you activate Fenris Wolf to bring back whatever card you destroyed from their side. And it worked. It was so fun because I sent you a couple videos throughout the whole time we were doing these things, and it was a blast, especially if you could get some cool locations out there that helped you. I'm going to tell you, that was my favorite combo. Bullseye was probably my favorite pool this season. My favorite pool probably in quite a few seasons, actually, because it seems to be a really useful card. What are your thoughts on Bullseye?
Well, like I said, I put him in a deck with Ajax, and then because this is my knee-jerk, every time there's a 3-cost card, I had to pair him with Silver Surfer. I probably sacrificed some other things. It took me a little while to be like, yeah, why aren't you putting Swarm in there? Now, Scorn is almost always running mate with Bullseye. And then Dakin is one I used. And then somebody pulled the Dakin Bullseye Arnim Zola combo on. that was what I was chasing quite a bit. I think I snagged a few 8-cubers with that. It didn't always work out, but that's what I ended up with.
Let me think of the order of things here. So you Arnim Zola'd Dakin.
You played Dakin, and
Right.
then I also had Colleen Wing and Blade in there to slice up the Miramasa shard.
Right.
So the trick was you wanted to make sure Dakin was by himself.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And then he's the target for Arnim Zola.
Yeah. So then you got an 8-power Dakin, and you leave space at the other 2 lanes. Then you Arnim Zola Dakin. Then you get 2 Miramasa shards in there. Then you activate Bullseye.
Nice.
And hopefully you've got 2 32-power Dakins. Maybe if you manage to get Silver Surfer out there, you can even boost it up a little more.
Wow.
So, yeah, but Bullseye, not a character I enjoy, but the card, it was a lot of fun coming up with different things with him. I tried a Surfer deck. At one point, I started out just trying to get him as much ammo as I could, so I had him out there with Shanna and Falcon or Beast to put those 1 costs back in my hand.
Nice.
Used the hood a lot. So it was a lot of fun just trying and experimenting with him. That Bullseye Surfer deck and then throwing Zola in there did get me to 90, but I did not hit Infinite. I hit the wall. But I was coming up with a lot of fun decks to try, but I never could get much momentum after I hit 90.
Wow.
An important tip with Bullseye is he is most effective when you actually remember to activate him. And a lot of times activating him would need to be the last thing I did. I don't have this problem with other activate cards. I can think of at least 3 and probably more games that I've lost because I did not activate Bullseye.
I think the activate ability has really done a great job of adding more to this game. Before all of this, it was just lay down a card and then you left and did something different. Now you've got to think about the order of things and how things are laid down there. You activate this ability, what's going to happen next. I think that's great. I love that little aspect that's being added to the game. Makes it a little bit more complex, and just like you said, yeah, if you mess up with what you were supposed to do, you could end up costing yourself the game. It's a great card.
Yeah, if we do a card of the year list again, he's the clubhouse leader right now.
Yeah, I'll agree 100%. All right, next up, Ares, 4 cost, 6 power. On reveal, compare the power of the top 3 cards of both decks. If your total is higher, you get +6 power. So I didn't spend any keys to get Ares. I played against him a little bit. He definitely showed up. And I was lucky, though, because I had Shang-Chi in my hand. So can't remember what deck I had that had Shang-Chi in it. But either way, I was able to manage Ares when he showed up. Last night after we played our game, right before I went to bed, I just played a few more random games with that Jean Grey deck. Oh, man. Jean Grey and then Cosmo. And watching Ares have to get laid down and nothing happened was pretty fun. Any thoughts on Ares?
I think it has something to do with the way the whole Dark Avengers saga ended, with him getting ripped in half by the Sentry, which Marvel feels the need to revisit every couple of years. Like, let's rip somebody else in half. That has nothing to do with the game, really nothing to do with Ares as a character. He came back. They've done other stuff with him. But I just don't have a good association with Ares. I see where the power could be useful, but I don't know, just didn't appeal to me. And although thanks to the service interruption with all the TikTok drama, once they gave us 2 spotlight keys, I probably could have taken a shot or 2 at him, but yeah, I'm saving those up. So, yeah. But yeah, I've played against him a lot. I like how they show you, exactly what the total is. And I mean, yeah, he's, most of the upper limits on 4 cost cards are 10 power. So the fact that you can get 12 with him is pretty good. I just didn't feel the need to try for him.
Let's talk locations. Well, location.
Well, now they did bring back an old one.
Oh, they did, didn't they? And what was it? Because I did not put it on this list.
Yeah, instead of inverting all the costs and powers, it teleports the leftmost card in your hand to your opponent.
Oh my goodness, I forgot all about that.
Which sucks if you're using Thanos. But yeah, it's not as frustrating as the original Peak, but it is still kind of frustrating. But I don't know, it's a good wrinkle. It doesn't just. I don't know why the old Peak frustrated me as much as it did, but it did. This isn't nearly as bad. Sometimes it's like, okay, I've got this card, and I'm going, oh, nope, it's gone now. But what's really made it interesting is the fact that sometimes the card that gets teleported in your hand disappears.
Oh, like you couldn't see it?
Like it comes back the next turn, but sometimes there's just a blank spot in your hand at first. And I know there was one time where I wanted to use that new card I got, and I couldn't.
I had that happen to me a night or two ago. I got some other card and I'm like, what is it? There's a big space. Am I ever going to be able to see it? So, man, that's strange. I remember now because I immediately sent you a message and it said Agatha incoming, because Agatha was going in my deck. She shows up on the left-hand side. Sometimes I had Agatha there for 3 turns or 2 turns. I can't remember. On the 3rd turn, if the location pops up, she would go over to the other hand. And yeah, I had quite a few insta retreats. I remember that happening quite a bit. What'd you send me here?
Well, I sent you a teleporter accident. I was playing the other day and the peak came up and something popped in my hand and I'm like, well, that's a cool Iron Man variant. And it was the card that got teleported, moved over and overlapped with Swarm. Now, when you zoom in on it, you can just see the 2 images of the cards, one on top of the other. But when it was smaller and you're just glancing down, you're like, what the heck just happened there?
Right. Oh, my gosh. This exact same thing happened to me a couple days ago. I can't remember the cards, though. I swear one was Onslaught, maybe, and I can't remember what the other one was, but it was like this pink version of Onslaught. And I mean pink. And I was like, what is going on? I think the cards finally separated. And I want to say it was maybe armor. But anyway, that's funny. I love how they got the art's overlapping. That's pretty dang hilarious.
Yeah, it looked like they merged. But then when you zoom it in, it looks like Swarm is riding Iron Man.
Oh, man. All right, the other location, Asgard Besieged. After turn 3, add the Destroyer to the winning side. I was talking about using Shang-Chi. If this was the last week, it was lining up with Ares, and that might be why, because I had Shang-Chi in my hand. I wanted to see if I could Legion it at least. I don't think I even did that. It did not excite me as much as one would expect. How about you, Asgard Besieged?
I didn't do anything special with it. Whenever it popped up, I pretty much played my first 3 cards on there, unless I had the Hood or somebody I didn't mind blowing up. I just would try to get it because I'm like, well, you play 3 cards and get 16 points on top of that, you're probably going to win that one.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes I see it and I'm like, oh, now I got to just stay on that one.
Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's our discussion of the Dark Avengers season of Marvel Snap. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.